Hello, everyone. We are here at our webinar for starting and scaling a digital marketing agency. Today, I am joined by five incredible women. They are all agency owners, and they're going to teach us all of the processes for how to define your niche, how to start, what to do essentially to win clients, to retain them, and everything else, all of the other questions that you might have in terms of agency growth and development. So, without further ado, I just want to pop on stage all of the guests that we have today. And just before I give them the opportunity to present themselves, I also want to say that our webinar today will also have a co host, Mira. She will pop on the screen in a moment. But before that, I just wanted to give our guests the ability to introduce themselves. And typically, we do this with a fun question. So, our introduction question today would be for us to get to know a little bit more about their agency, their services. So, ladies, if you can, tell us what prompted you to start your agency, what services you are offering at the moment, how long have you been running your agency, and what is your current headcount? If you don't mind, Stefka, would you like to be the first one to go?
Of course, I'm a pretty talkative person, so thanks, Zara, to inviting me for this amazing webinar with all of these awesome women. Girls, it's nice to meet you and it's pleasure to spend time with you. So I'm owner of Advantage Digital Agency based in Bulgaria. We are the market for 2.5 years, and I'm doing performance marketing since 2015, I think 10 years from now. And my reason to create a digital agency is pretty much ridiculous. When I quit my last job, I started looking for another adventure and I couldn't find it. So I decided to create my personal way to do this and my own company to spend my time with passion and with all of my love, because digital marketing was a hobby for me 20 years from now. And yeah, I did it because I couldn't find a new job. It was scary
That
from
is
the
a very
beginning.
valid reason. And I think a lot of agencies start like that. But what I
Yeah,
find is they're actually thriving. So that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. it
Sometimes you're
was
just too overqualified, and that makes perfect sense.
it was scary, but I love it. And yeah.
Awesome. So, Claire, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for inviting me on today. And again, it's great to be here with all of you guys as well. So, I am the founder of TU Marketing. We're a full service digital marketing agency. We started out in 2007. So, right back when no one really even knew what SEO was, for example. And we started off in SEO and over time have expanded our services out to be full service. We started because I started off in the corporate world and got a little bit disillusioned with that whole environment and wanted to do something and work with much smaller businesses. And at the time, the internet was just a really exciting place to be. So I knew nothing about websites or SEO, any of that stuff, had to learn it all from scratch and spent probably the first year just me sat at my computer. And here we are 18 years later. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Super exciting. Yeah, sounds like a big journey. Megan, what about you?
Hi, just double checking everyone can hear me.
Yep.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan. I'm founder of Thunder Digital. We are a fairly new agency, started in April 2024, so still very new, kids on the block. And it did start off as a one-woman show. Basically, coming out of university, I did the law degree, was really deciding whether I wanted to go into the corporate world or kind of go and do something on my own, make something that I'm really proud of. And then obviously that's where Thunder was born. And it's been really amazing. We really, from the get-go, started off with me doing everything from your SEO to your ads to social media management to website design. And now, just over that year and a bit, we're now a team of 10 and growing, which is absolutely amazing. I think I always had a passion for wanting to help people, obviously with a law degree. And I think really digital marketing is really just going into that a bit more of really trying to understand your client, your customer, and building their business up by understanding how to reach theirs. So I think that's really where the passion for kind of wanting to start my own digital marketing agency came from.
That sounds amazing, and such an amazing headcount growth for just a year.
Yeah,
So
it's
congrats
been
on
great.
that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Steph, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you. Firstly, I want to say that I'm very happy to be part of this community because, firstly, girls supporting girls in this sphere is big for me, and I'm so happy to be here with you. My name is Stefaniya Ivanova, and I've been working on social media Stef for 3 years now. And the name sounds so egoistic because it started as a personal brand, but actually it grew into an agency because of the demand of the market. And this is something I'm going to talk about more in my lecture, but I've been in digital marketing for maybe 6 years now. And content has always been my passion, creating has always been my passion, and that's why I decided to start it. In the beginning, there was almost no people, no experts in the TikTok field, and that's something that gave me like the idea that I could do it. If I go back now, I will see that I knew nothing, but now I see just how I have evolved, how all the clients have evolved and the platforms. So I'm very happy to be part of this in Bulgaria and to be able to help many clients from Bulgaria, bigger ones from the outside of it. And yeah, it's been quite a journey. We've been 3 people until the beginning of this year, but since I'm heading to motherhood, now we have only 2 people as freelancers, and we'll see how that will turn in a year.
That's awesome, and congrats on the motherhood part. Super exciting. I'm just coming out of the other end, and yeah, life is different, but fun, fun, fun. Okay, Amanda, it's your turn.
Again, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really looking forward to hearing what everyone has to say and hopefully sharing some insights. So I am the founder and owner of a company called Cedarwood Digital. We've been going for nearly 10 years. We celebrate our 10th birthday in March next year, which is very exciting. Yeah, very much looking forward to it. I've already got my cake and everything planned. So I'm really excited. We basically specialize in SEO, digital PR, and paid media. So we really just focus on those kind of 3 verticals. We don't do too much outside of it. We work in the UK market predominantly. We also do some work in the US and international markets. I started Cedarwood back in 2016 because I wanted to try and do things that a little bit differently. I'd worked previously for a lot of full service agencies, and I felt it was like trying to balance a lot of hats all in one go. So I wanted to start an agency that was more specialized. That was our focus behind it at the time. We've continued to grow. So we've got a headcount of 18. We're based in Manchester. We have some of our staff that worked remote. We started introducing remote workers a couple of years ago. So we've got a couple up in Newcastle and down in the Midlands just to expand our talent pool. But yeah, really enjoying it so far, and yeah, hoping for another 10, hopefully. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, I hope you have your team offsite planned already.
Absolutely, 100%.
Awesome. Everyone, now that you have seen our wonderful speakers for today, I just want to also give a warm welcome to Mira as well, who will be my co-host for today and also for some of the webinars, if not all, in the future. So everyone watching, warm welcome to Mira, who you will be able to interact with in the comment section on LinkedIn as well. And she will rejoin us for the discussion part. So now we are actually starting with the first part of the webinar, which is Stefaniya's presentation, who will show us how to carve out a clear market position, define our core services, and see what actually resonates with the market. So without further ado, I'm just going to pop on her presentation on stage, and Steph, take it away.
Thank you so much. Because I'm new to StreamYard, I just try to move the slides to be sure that, yeah, everything is good. So thank you once more. As Wazarina said, I'm going to talk with you about defining your niche, your value propositions. If I go up and down with my eyes, is because I have a second screen, and I'll try to be here more and my eyes to be a little bit more with you. Here we have a table of content. We'll skip the first part, the introduction, because we did it. We're going to talk about does the niche equal the industry? What's your superpower? how to listen to the market, and how to make a clear value proposition. And something that I don't know if you have thought about it, but actually your niche evolves. It's not something that we said and we stay with it forever. Here is a slide about me. If you have the presentation after that, you'll be able to read a little bit more about me and the agency. Here I have left some videos of some of the brands that we work with, and you may have seen us in Bulgaria. Still, no, we have one client that is worldwide, but it's more in the United States. But here we have Multisport, which is like a company benefit card for sports and for different sports activities. We have Kaufland. Choco is a chocolate for couples. It's really interesting as a concept. We have Camper Trip, they are a renting business for campers, and we have Parfum, which is just perfumes, as you can assume. But you need to see the presentation just to put the videos on, or you can find the profiles on TikTok. So we'll continue to, is the niche your industry actually? And niche is not just an industry actually, and you don't have to say, I only work with beauty salons to have a niche. You can think about it in many different ways. And as an example, we can start by industry, but it's just really scratching the bottom. It can be like health and wellness, hospitality, tech. You can do it by client size. You can work only with startups, scale-ups, enterprises, or by business models, B2B, B2C, even B2B2C, depends what you're an expert in. Or you can do it by the type of marketing you provide. You can be a full service agency. You can do only paid ads. You can do only content creation, which is us in our case. But actually, the most powerful way that you can carve out a niche is to look beyond the labels and focus on three main things. And first, we start with people. The specific clients that you want to serve and that you want to work with, you can think about that. You can go with the problem. That's the core pain point that you help them solve. And as the third part of this strategy, we have your unique way. That's the method, the process, the creative angle that only you can bring. And that formula, people plus problem plus your unique way, that creates a niche that is unmistakably yours and much harder to compress and for the competitors to copy you. So it's something that is only you. This is a specific way that you can be more unique and show yourself better to the clients and to show them what you're doing better than the others. We continue with what's your superpower, or actually we begin with what's your superpower, but because before we look at the competitors, before we look at the market trends, we have to start with you. And your niche begins with your superpower, and that's the strengths that come naturally to you and feel almost effortless. So you can ask yourself, what do you truly love doing and what you could repeat every day without burning out? You can ask yourself which skills or processes feel easy for you but are complicated to the others. I'm sure that you have heard that as a feedback from your clients, from people around you, from colleagues. And something else you can ask yourself is, what have I already proven results that clients rave about? What do they love about you that you have done about them? For me, as an expert, I realized that my real strength isn't just creating videos, it's creating brand assets. That's content that truly speaks to the right clients of a business instead of just chasing random views with something funny, something trendy, and with TikTok that most often attracts only kids. That focus on reaching the real audience is actually why bigger and bigger clients started choosing me in the beginning of my journey as an agency owner. And they saw that I'm not chasing just vanity metrics. I'm committed to showcasing their business to an actual potential client, which, of course, for every business owner, that's a really big goal. And when you identify your superpower, they become the foundation of your niche. That's the first step that we have. And then we continue to the next step, which is to listen to the market, because this is something very important. We have us and we have our own but we need to have a real demand behind this superpower. So what we're going to do, that's simply to start observing what challenges do the businesses you want to work with, what is it, what they keep talking about, what is something that they're struggling with, is there any trends, any gaps that keep showing up in their conversations, something that they're missing in their teams, and what's something that you see them spending budgets but they're not getting results. This is something you can talk about with your clients, with potential clients, with everybody has a friend of a friend or someone who has a business. Go with them, chat with them. If you want to make it more professional, do a list with several questions and just ask them and see what's actually the need in the market. That's something that really helps. And when I started back in 2022, that's when there were few experts, as I already said in the beginning, who made TikTok videos. And the few big agencies that offered it, they were charging a lot of money for the service, and many brands were still unsure whether TikTok is for them, if there is only children, or there is actually the right audience for them. And at the same time, they could already feel the need for doing videos, but also they knew that they're not sure how any of this is going to bring them real clients or sales. So these were all pain points that I saw, and they gave me a clear signal that this is a big opportunity to guide brands through the chaos and to show them how TikTok can drive real business results and not just some random views. So when you listen closely, the market literally tells you what they need. So this is something really big that we need to do. When we have found our superpower, when we have talked with the market, they have told us what they need, we continue with crafting our clear value proposition. That's something really important. And we start with something really easy, because people, they don't want to buy our services, they want to buy a promise of a result. And here we have a strong value proposition, strategy, and formula that we can do, answering three simple questions. The first one is who we help, what's our ideal client. The second one is what outcome we deliver. This is the transformation or the result that people care about and that we're going to give them. And most importantly, because we want to differ ourselves, is how we do it differently. What's our unique way of getting them there? And by having these three questions, actually, we can go and see the full formula. And this is one single sentence. We help ideal client achieve desired outcome by our unique approach. This is it. It's that simple, but it's that simple when we have gone through the first steps and we already know ourselves, we already know the client, and we know what we do best, so we can give it as a desired outcome. And for an example, I can give you what I do for my agency as a clear value proposition. We help brands create video content that reaches their real customers, not just meaningless views, by turning every TikTok into a true brand asset. Keep it short, keep it clear, keep it memorable. That's the most important. And at the end, we have, as I already told you, this insight that your niche evolves, and it needs to evolve after all, because it's not just a one-time decision, it's a journey. And when I started, I was a freelancer. That's why I'm social media Stef. I'm not something that it's more of a name like an agency. I wanted to teach people, to help them understand social media better. But pretty quickly, I discovered that my real superpower at this time, and also what's that the market needed, was brands that desired someone who can manage their TikTok profiles end to end, from strategy to script to filming to posting. They don't want just someone to teach them how to do it. They want someone who can do it all. But as I kept working, I realized that businesses don't just need TikTok. They wanted a partner they can trust to run their organic content across all social channels. So this is something that made me go from only a video marketing agency to content agency. Someone who says, yeah, I take your brand and I do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything. I manage all the content, and it's all one across all social media platforms, and it's what you need right now. And that's how my niche kept expanding and sharpening at the same time. I didn't define it once and stick to it forever. It's a little bit agile here. I started it with the hypothesis, then I tested it with the first clients, and maybe I tested it for a long time to see how it's going to evolve. I listened to them, I listened to their feedback, and I let the experience just shape the next step. And that's how I have the refined niche now that I know in my place. And so don't try to think of the perfect niche, sorry. Don't try to think of the perfect niche first before you have begun. Start where you are, stay close to your clients. That's really important. Talk with them a lot and let their needs, and most importantly, your own growth and needs, show you where your niche is. That's my best advice, because everything is evolving with the world we are in, with AI. Everything is evolving. Try to be agile. And I want to thank you for your attention. You can find me everywhere at social media, Stef. Text me. I here for your questions.
Love it. Thank you, Steph. To everyone watching, this is such a presentation packed with a ton of insights. So I'm quickly moving on to our other webinar speakers. Steph, it was a great presentation. So just as a quick segue, while I pop Amanda on the screen with her presentation, I just want to tell everyone in the audience, just as Steph mentioned, that content and social media often come hand in hand, and especially with the recent changes in the marketing field and with technology as well, we do have an event specifically for that. So I just wanted to pop that here. So Mira will be popping this into the comments on LinkedIn. If you are interested in content marketing, AI, social media, definitely check out our mini conference in Sofia on the 21st of November. So we now have Amanda on the screen. She will be walking us through how to find, pitch, and win clients. Take it away.
Thank you so much. So yeah, definitely a tricky topic, I would say, and something that I think is front of mind when we're trying to grow and develop businesses, and definitely something that I've found probably the most challenging element of running a business, or one of the most challenging elements of running a business over the last 10 years. So I'm looking forward to sharing some insights on how I've gone about finding, pitching, and winning clients. And I think the other thing that I would add is that in addition to finding, pitching, and winning, once you've won the client, the hard work isn't over. The hard work has just begun, because you've then got to start to retain the client as well. So the retaining is very much an important part of the finding, the pitching, and the winning. So first off, how do we go about getting people to actually talk about us? Because when you look at finding and pitching to a client, there's two ways that client can come about. It can either come about through an inbound inquiry, or it can come about through an outbound inquiry. Now, what we tend to find, particularly at Cedarwood, is around 80% of our inquiries come from inbound. The beauty of an inbound inquiry is it's someone that probably already has some familiarity with you. So perhaps they've seen about the brand, or they've actively searched online for a service that you're offering, and they have a real need at that point in time. So it makes them a little bit more engaged when you start to put them into the sales funnel. By contrast, when you're doing outbound sales, it's a little bit more difficult, because you might be selling to someone who wasn't aware that they had a need. They're potentially thinking about it, but not as actively engaged as they are. So I think defining whether you're looking at inbound or outbound leads is the very first stage of the sales process. Now, we decided to go for an inbound approach. We don't actually have an outbound sales team within our business, so we wait for people to come to us. But obviously, in order to do that, there's a couple of things we have to do to get people to know who we are. So the first thing that I would say in the terms of the sales process is make yourself known. Get people to know who you are as a brand. So firstly, think about your online reputation. So when people actually search for your brand, are you visible? When we started off, we didn't have a website. So I think one of the most valuable assets that we created from a sales perspective was a website. And then within that website was the case studies, where we could showcase the clients that we've worked with. We find a lot of people in the sales funnel like to have examples of where we've worked with similar clients. So case studies tend to work really well from that perspective as well. Are you building a brand? Are you backing up what you're saying? Do people see you as experts? Or are you showcasing why you're an expert? I think in the UK alone, there's 2,000 agencies or more. So there's a lot of choice out there for brands. So really, what is it that makes you stand out from the crowd? And then as a result of that, do people have that brand familiarity? Now, there's a number of different ways that you can showcase that expertise. I mentioned the kind of website case studies. You can also do it through thought leadership, which you can share on LinkedIn or social platforms, or in webinars, conversations, talking at events. You can also do any kind of knowledge sharing. So you can write for kind of industry publications. I did an article in Search Engine Watch not too long ago, and so a lot of people came in off the back of that, so really enjoyed it, showcased your expertise. So there's a lot of opportunities to get involved in kind of brand building as the first part of the sales process, but really getting people to know who you are plays an important role in that. A big part of that is looking at your case studies. On the Cedarwood website, we have over 60 case studies, I think, that covers the work that we've done across our 3 core disciplines, SEO, digital PR, and PPC, and also covers a range of different sectors. The sector element is important. So, do you have sector-specific examples? Are they relevant to your clients? Clients are looking for where you've done this before or in similar industries. So even if you don't have direct industry experience, is there something that you can marry together? So we do a lot of work in WiM space, Your Money, Your Life. So even if we don't have direct experience in, let's say, healthcare, we do have experience in finance, we do have experience in legal, other sectors that are held to a similar standard, so we can marry that together. Have you worked with a similar company? How could that be applicable or transfer? Have you got a specialism, specialist vertical, B2B, lead gen, e-com, anything along those lines? And also similar goals or budget levels. So particularly on the PPC side, companies are looking to work with agencies that have worked with that similar budget level or similar kind of goals in the past to showcase that you've been able to do it. So once you've got yourself known and you've got those case studies up there, it's really important to know who those prospects are, who it is that you're talking to. So market research plays an important role in that. Understanding your budget. So we have a tick box on our inquiry form that says we don't take any work under a minimum of £3,000 per month. That allows us straight away to qualify the leads that are coming in through the website that we're investing time in speaking to are going to be the right kind of leads for our business. We then do a credit check on them to check for financial stability. We check that we have realistic goals and that we're both trying to achieve the same thing, and for brand alignment. And we also, one of the biggest questions that I ask is who's got the sign off on this? So if we're going to invest quite a lot of time in this pitching process and this selling process, are you the ultimate decision maker? And if you're not, can we get the person on the call who is, so that we know that we're going to be able to progress through with this, rather than spending a lot of time pulling a presentation together to find out that the decision maker actually isn't really that bothered at all. And that ties into the buyer personas. So, who you're targeting. Is it a marketing director? Is it a CMO or chief marketing officer? Is it a manager? Is it an exec? So having a really good understanding of who it is within that business that's going to be making the right decision. And then don't target everyone. Build your niche list, focus on personalization, and showcase that you really understand the challenges of a brand. A lot of the time, feedback that I've had from brands in the past about different agencies that have pitched is that agencies spend a lot of time talking about themselves, but not a lot of time talking about us. How can they help us? What are the challenges we face? And the biggest kind of most positive feedback we've had is that we really felt that you understood our challenges and we were aligned on that. And I think that's a really positive piece of feedback to have as part of the sales process. So once you've got to know your prospects, definitely tailor your approach. So whether it's inbound or outbound, it's important to be different. Like I said, there's a lot of agencies in the UK alone. Why should they choose you? Think about the kind of comms that you're going to go with. Is it LinkedIn? Is it phone? Is it email? Is it quite a soft connection? Is it inbound? Identify what that problem is. Give them a reason to speak to you. Get out your external tools, things like Ahrefs, SEMrush. Have they had a traffic drop? Have they got a lack of rankings for important keywords? Do the ads not look like they're working properly, or they may be targeting the wrong kind of terms? Get them thinking about what those challenges are. But then at the same time, don't just identify that problem. Bring an active solution to them. Tell and show them how you're going to solve it with real examples, and then tie that back into what the overall outcome will be for them. So what kind of ROI are they going to get off this? What level of success are they going to look to achieve? And then finally, once you've put all of this together, qualify and close that sale. So qualification, and sometimes this can be brutal. It might be that actually they're not the right fit, and that's absolutely fine. Better to know now than 3 months down the track and have difficult conversations on your hands. Are they the right fit? Do they have the right budget? What are your ways of working? How will they treat your staff? That's really important, because you don't want to put your staff in a difficult position. Most importantly, can you make a difference for them? Are you aligned in your goals and achievements? Are the expectations realistic? Are the projections and targets realistic? And then always contract. Always try and get them into a contract. Offer options, so things like break clauses. We always offer a 3-month break clause for a 12-month contract. Just, we know that when clients are signing up with us for the first time, they don't know much about us, and 12 months can be a big commitment. We always try and get that together as best as we can, and then listen to their concerns and see how you can ally them. And really, by pulling all of those processes together, it does allow you to build quite an effective sales funnel, starting off with getting known, then moving on to understanding your audience, and finally working out how you qualify and close those leads to bring in leads that are right for you, for your business, for your staff, and hopefully that are going to stick around for a long time.
This was so informational, and it's so different from what is the process for freelancers, I would say, especially with the contracting clauses situation. And also we had a question, which I think you partially answered with your presentation, which was all about should the pricing be on the webpage of an agency. And I think your presentation really highlighted the fact that you should qualify and you should invest in the right partnerships. You shouldn't be afraid of turning some people down, which I think is amazing. Thank you so much, Amanda. Now I'm adding Claire to the stage, so she could actually tell us, what do we do with clients now that we have contracted them? How do we retain them? How do we keep them happy? Take it away, Claire.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so we spend a lot of time talking about how to market our businesses, how to generate those leads, and then how to close those leads. But we don't spend enough time, I don't believe, in managing those clients when we have them. And it's something that we've worked really hard at in our agency. And as a result, our average client retention rate now is around 8 years, which is something that we're really proud of. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you about this specific subject today. So I'm going to share with you my top 6 tips. So the first one is all around relationship. And this might seem really obvious, but it's like you own the relationship. Don't wait for your client to be the one to come to you. Once you're working with somebody, you need to be proactive. You need to be making sure that you have regular touch points with them. Don't wait 3 months until you have a review with them. Make sure you're getting in contact with them on a regular basis. This is really important. The next thing I would say is around delivery. Look, when someone signs up with you, they're expecting that you're going to be able to deliver on what you've sold to them. That's a given. And there's this phrase that says, under promise, over deliver. We've all heard that. And that can be quite difficult in the marketing world, because what does that look like when we don't have any guarantees often about what the results are going to be? But I still think there are ways that you can do that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be directly related to the specific service that you're selling. It can also be over delivering in the way that you communicate. It might be that you're super responsive with a client. It might be that you're really proactive and coming up with ideas and making them feel really special. Or it could just be that you're really fun to work with, and that makes working with your agency a really pleasurable experience. All these little things can make a massive difference when it comes to thinking about retention. We talked a tiny bit about contracts in the last presentation, and I think one of the things that we've done in our business, which has worked really, is we don't have massive tie-ins. So the way that we've structured our contracts is that we have a minimum point, which we have at 3 months. So we say to people, we sign up for 3 months minimum. From there on in, it's just a rolling contract. That helps in a number of ways, because if you're first off selling something into somebody, then that risk is much lower if they know it's just a 3-month period. And by that point, they'll have a really good experience of working with you. They'll understand a little bit more about what that's. And then what you can do is, by having that rolling contract, you're not then having that cutoff point. You're not having this big meeting at the end of 12 months, which is all about, are we going to carry on? Are we not going to carry on? It's almost like a given that you're just going to continue to work together. So my next tip is about offering more value the moment that it's relevant. And this is really how we went from an SEO agency through to being full service. And over the years, we've managed to sell in additional services as we've grown as an agency. And I think particularly in today's marketplace, there are really easy ways that you can add value. So to give you a really good example, and it may be that you don't want to offer loads of extra services. You don't have to do that. There are other ways to do it. So to give you that example, if I'm an SEO agency and that's all we do, and our client wants to build a new website, we can manage that project for them for a small retainer fee. As part of that project, we can say, we'll manage that for you. Not only are you keeping yourself in between your client and the other agency, because there's always a risk that they will build a stronger relationship with them and maybe pull them away if they offer SEO as well. You're also having insight into how that website is going to get built, which as an SEO is really good, right? Because you can have some control over what that looks like. And then the other thing is you're doing a really good job for your client. You're adding an additional service, and that then may lead to more business down the line. It doesn't necessarily have to be a paid thing. It can also be things like sending them an article about something that's really relevant to their industry. It might be that you do a little bit of free training on some AI tools that you've found. There's loads of ways that you can add value to your clients in a way that's over and above, and going back to the over delivery piece, over and above what they've signed up for in the first place. So my next one is about churn. So make sure if you start getting that weird feeling in your stomach that something is not quite right, your client isn't communicating as often as they would normally communicate, pick up the phone and speak to them. Don't wait for your next meeting. And I know sometimes, especially today, picking up a phone can be a bit of a scary thing, but my advice would be pick up a phone, call them, speak to them, find out what the issue is, and then you can nip it in the bud before they start looking elsewhere for a different agency. And then my last thing is around pricing. So when we think about pricing, we're often looking at what we're going to make this year, what's our cost of acquisition, what are our costs to run that account for the next year. But actually, if your retention rate is much longer, and if you can extend that out by delivering some of the things that I've covered today, then actually your pricing doesn't necessarily have to be as high. So it means that once you have a client, yes, of course you're going to raise their prices every year, but you don't have to raise them to the same extent that you might do normally, because your costs are much lower over the lifetime for that client. So it's just something to think about. So in summary, own the relationship. It's your responsibility. You need to be proactive, be really good at what you do, and try and over deliver where you can, and use some of those tactics to try and reduce churn as well. So hopefully you'll be able to take something away from that and put it into action in your own business.
Thank you so much, Claire. This was super, super insightful. So next up, we have Megan, who will walk us through when we hire, how to grow our headcount. We have now seen that she has quite an impressive track record with that exact topic. So I'm very much looking forward to hear what she has to say. She will teach us whether we should hire from overseas, remote talent, how to manage our team, and basically everything related to the people that we work with. Take it away, Megan.
You start out wearing all of those hats. You're doing the account management, you're doing the sales, you're actually doing the technical stuff, whether it's SEO or social media as well. And that was like me at the beginning. I would say for the first kind of 3 to 5 months, it was very much me. Now we're a team of 10 and growing, and I'm going to talk through how I got to the hiring, when I decided to hire, and then how that kind of worked. So the starting point was I didn't want to hire reactively. I already knew that from the beginning. So for me, I would say this with everyone, is plan out, have your starting point. So here's some examples. So it could be that you have more of a financial kind of goal where you like, okay, when I hit 5,000 in monthly recurring revenue from clients, I'm going to bring in a new technical hire, say it's on the SEO side, to help me with the SEO side. Or it could be, I'm going to set a marker that if I'm spending 15 hours on a week on design or website maintenance, I'm going to outsource that role to free up my time to do more client retention. Or you've even got working out how many accounts you can realistically manage on your own. So say once you reach 6 clients, you then know that you need a new account manager, or you need to free up your time and get more technical support in. So for me, I always had, okay, when I reach this financial, but it was also in workload, because obviously when you're starting your own company or you're doing it yourself, a really big thing is the burnout. And that's obviously one thing that you want to avoid. So at the start, really set your expectations so you're not trying to do it reactively and then you potentially hiring someone that may not actually be the right fit for the role. So with hiring, you've obviously got, you can hire in person, you can do the remote, you can do the overseas. So when it first came to my hire, remote was best for me. I was traveling across the UK a lot for client meetings. So I had a base in the Midlands and then I had a base in Scotland. So it didn't make sense at that moment to have someone that I would have with me all the time in an office, because an office space wasn't needed at that time. I'd seen from looking at other agencies, working in other agencies, and having friends in other agencies, that actually technical roles like your SEO, your ads, even your website holdings, ones that don't necessarily need to be client focused, work really well. And actually South African. So actually half of my team are South African and living in South Africa. It's a really good benefit for me in terms of their English speaking. They're only 1 to 2 hours ahead of the UK at any point, and they have really strong marketing talent. So for me, actually hiring somewhere out in South Africa, where actually the initial costs are lower compared to, say, if I was to get someone in the UK, it was quite good. So I built my team through there. It started off through using ex-colleague connections and going, like, I'm looking for someone in the SEO, here's the kind of requirement, and then them sending through people and then interviewing that way. We now also have a recruitment agency that sources South Africans for us as well. So we'll send them and then do it that way. Obviously, that second route does obviously come with a bit of a fee in terms of you will pay a percentage of how much you're paying through that wage. But the remote is really good for technical, I think. We then obviously started hiring. This is what an ideal hire would look like, just a rough CV, but obviously it's really what you want, and it's obviously really specific, but you want to make sure that they've got the bio, they've got personality, they've got the experience and really fit with your brand. But you can watch this after and you can see roughly what I would be looking for in terms of hire. But again, I'm a very people person, so I really like getting on a call with them and speaking through and running through scenarios and seeing who they are as a person. As we obviously grew, the local team is very much needed. So we do have that mix of technical remote workers, and then we have our local team as well, who are typically on a hybrid where we have the office, but they're also can obviously we're traveling all the time. So being in England when the office is in Scotland. Our local team is typically more of the client facing role. So we've got the account management and the social media, where we're actually having to do the in-person connection and local knowledge. And the reason that we decided to do UK mainly for this is because they do have that slightly more local knowledge. So when you're hiring, I would say for like your specific roles like account management or even in social media, anything that really is more kind of customer communication, I would make sure that they know local knowledge and understand like local social terms, because it's really important. The hybrid approach is really good, even if you don't have an office. Trying to do, even if it's once a month, meeting up with the team and going into a co-working space. But the remote is also quite good in terms of allows flexibility for yourself and others. And the culture and collaboration is obviously really important. Now, tools was also really important in terms of keeping the team happy. As it grew, it was more of a I needed help. So we use Deal, and that is generally to manage contacts, payrolls, holidays. It's like a HR contract in one. It's really good for remote workers and also workers in the UK, and you can do it on lots of different things, and it can help with your tax as well. Slack we use for our everyday communications, team meetings. We generally have a page for each client that we've got. So any kind of discussions in there from all different teams, SEO, ads, etc., go in there. And then ClickUp is where we have our management of tasks as well. And a really important thing when you're employing is making sure that your employees are happy. So what we do is obviously try and make it a good work-life culture, but also even just doing little things with celebrations and awards. If it's their birthday, send them some money, give them the day off, plan a party. We've done really well in a client thing. Maybe it's a thing of we're all going to go out for dinner, or we're going to send each employee a gift to go out and do something, or we can get let off on Friday, etc. So really lessons learned, set clear expectations, hire strategically, not reactive. Culture matters as much as the skill. Again, you could hire the most skillful person, but if they don't fit in the team, then it's just not going to work. Use the right tools from the start, and then invest in training is what I would say as well, and keeping sure your employees are always constantly up to date. Obviously, AI has become a really big thing. Put them in an AI training course, especially if it's like SEO, and celebrate wins. Make it more of a family environment. Obviously it is a work environment, but where they feel comfortable if there's something going on at home and they're not performing well, that they can come talk to you about that as well. So that's everything. Thank you.
This was amazing. And I absolutely love all of the examples that you gave about keeping your team happy. That's amazing. Honestly, when I was listening to you and I thought, oh my God, maybe I should go work for her. No, honestly,
Amazing.
fantastic. This is the kind of work ethic and environment that every person listening at this webinar or in general should try to foster for their team. And yes, so last guest, Stefka, she will be walking us through how to actually build a system that scales within our agency and just to completely grow. And yeah, the sky is the limit. So Steffi, you are amazing in this, so I'm very much looking forward to see what you have to say.
Thanks, Zara. Thanks, girls and maybe boys at this webinar. I'll be straightforward to have enough time to answer the questions from the webinar. So we have 5 topics that we have to check it out very clearly, and that's the most important thing. After we are doing all after we already done everything from the beginning the webinar. So we have to be stable company, we have to create business structure, then we have to start scaling, and when we begin to scaling, we have to prepare the team and quality and the processes. So let's start discuss each topic. First of all, what means stability in the company? We have to have, of course, income, but we have to be very careful with the spending. And what I mean very careful with the spending, I don't mean please save every penny, spend a lot to this company, invest in marketing, invest in team, invest in client relationship, invest in tools, do everything that you want to achieve your goal and to start scaling your business, because it's on you. So don't be jealous about the money, spend it freely but mindfully. And after that, the business structure maybe is the most important thing that you have to prepare before start scaling. What I mean, up to now we are a team of 15, and when I became digital marketing expert, I want to become the most extraordinary PPC specialist, performance marketing specialist, especially for Google ads and Meta ads. But when you change your role and became company owner, founder, or CEO, doesn't matter. You have to create strong team to support you, because you're only one person. My personal structure is we have CEO, which is obviously me. We have a middle management. I have 3 persons that already are helping me with that. First of them is Elitsa, which is this beautiful lady. She helps me to continue and observing the processes, the task, the communication with the clients, the deadlines, and so on. We have the second person, which is Tsetso, who helps me to guarantee the quality of our work. Because if we create something material, the clients can touch it, can experience it. But when you provide service, it's really hard to give the clients really good experience and quality of work. So we have team leader, especially for advertising, and of course the third person with the creative stuff. And the most important person in each team are the regular teammates that really do the work. You have to be very careful with it. And here, by the way, there is different type of organization structures, and you can choose the best that could be that fits for you or for your needs or for agency or business, doesn't matter. But overall, you have to prepare the structure, and you have to tell these persons which are their roles and what their qualification and what they have to do and what you expect from their straightforward. Don't be polite, don't be easy to work, just be honest. Of course, polite, but be honest and straightforward. After that, the scaling. We can do the scale for 3 different methods. Of course, by raising the number of the clients. If you have 10 clients and became 20, obviously it's 100% change. If you have 40 clients and became 60 clients, that's 50% change. And as Amanda already said, in England, there is 2,000 agencies, but in Bulgaria we are 1,600. We are a very competitive niche in Bulgaria, and I already did this few times. My strong advice here is please don't combine these three ways in the same time. So the first way is to raise the number of the clients. The second way is to upsell your clients. If you gain new service, if you start doing new things, for example, preparing videos or starting SEO services or starting something different than that usually do, you can upsell, which is scaling too. And of course, the third phase is to choose different market and to expand in different countries. It could be the nearby countries. For example, in Bulgaria, it's very common to expand in Greece, in Romania, or our neighbors, or different countries in Europe. Of course, the English speaking mostly, because the communication is very easy. But the most important thing here is please don't combine these three ways at the same time, because I tried to did it 3 times and fail. You can combine the first two or this and this to raise the number of the client in different markets and so on. But the three of them at the same time, it just didn't work out so well. And the second, maybe the third important thing here is when you start scaling your agency, that means you have to change and evolve a lot in short period of time. At the end of the day or at the end of the week or the month, doesn't matter, your team will be tired of that. So my suggestion here is be patient with that and don't force it to do it extremely quick, because we can lose the most important team members here just because you don't have patience to do it slowly and to be well prepared. And maybe the hardest thing for scaling agency is to secure quality and processes. To scale agency, you have to prepare really strict processes before starting to scale to guarantee good quality of your job or your colleague job. Because if you don't secure the quality of your work, when you start raising the number of the clients, you start breaking the relationship with your longest client, and you start experience this loop, which you found new client, you lost one, you found a new one, lost another one, and it's like a horrible hell. Sorry, I don't recommend it. So start measuring the number of the clients, the satisfied of the clients, the satisfied of your colleagues. Be prepared for changes, for prepare processes, and create the processes of the work with your colleague and staff. And as Megan says, happy staff mean strong business. Do this together. You have to rely on your colleagues, and they have to know they can rely on you either. So that's the 5 important things about scaling agency. I know it's a short time to explain that, but if you have any other questions, find me on LinkedIn, or doesn't matter what. I'll be very grateful to help with everything.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Stefka. It was super, super insightful. So I'm just going to pop myself on the screen and just say to the audience, this was one of the most challenging topics that we've ever had to put on a webinar. And I just want to say a big, massive shout out to all of our guests, because they did an amazing job explaining such a hard topic in such a incredibly engaging and informative way. So massive shout out to all of you women. You are amazing and inspirational. I'm super, super proud that we have been able to host you at our webinar. For the audience, I do have a small challenge for everyone watching. Please pop your questions in the comments. We will be turning the webinars into blog posts for our website. And I will have one last favor for all of our guests today to answer as many of your questions as they can. We will share the blog post whenever it's ready in our newsletter, and we'll share it, of course, on LinkedIn as well. So please do that. We want to be respectful of your time, so we won't be taking any questions within this webinar, but hopefully all of you have seen the just incredible amount of knowledge that everyone shared. So one last thing from me before we all tell you goodbye and good night for today. I just want to mention that our next webinar will be happening in November instead of October. It will be for in-house people. So the topic is going to be around figuring out strategy and improving your interpersonal collaboration skills. So we already did a freelancing webinar. We now have done an incredible webinar about agency owners. So we do want to give our community members that are in-house some goodies as well. So stay tuned for that. It will happen on the 12th of November and it will be shared very soon on LinkedIn. So with that, I just want to say thank you everyone to our guests and thank you so much for everyone that was watching the webinar. And yeah, we'll see you in November. Goodbye, everyone.